The quiet hum of Commander Tae-won Kim's scout ship filled the cabin as he navigated through the asteroid belt. Stars glittered against the black canvas of space as he checked his instruments. The Earth Federation had assigned him to map this uncharted region of the Andromeda Cluster, a routine mission that had so far yielded nothing but space dust and rocks. Tae-won sighed and stretched in his captain's chair. 6 weeks alone in deep space made even the most seasoned explorer crave human contact. He ran his hand through his short black hair and glanced at the photo of his parents tucked beside his navigation screen. Just another 2 months, he muttered to himself. A sudden sharp beeping cut through the silence. Tae-won straightened in his chair, instantly alert. "Computer, identify signal source," he commanded. "Unknown distress beacon. Signal pattern does not match any registered Earth Federation craft," the computer replied in its flat voice. Tae-won frowned. This far from established space lanes, an unknown signal could only mean trouble or discovery. He adjusted his course toward the signal's origin. "Computer, prepare full sensor sweep and defensive systems check." As his ship changed direction, the asteroid field thinned, revealing a small, cratered moon orbiting a gas giant. The distress signal grew stronger as he approached. Through the viewport, he spotted unusual debris scattered across the moon's barren surface. The metal fragments caught the distant sunlight with an odd luminescence he had never seen before. "This isn't human technology," he whispered, excitement building in his chest. Tae-won guided his ship into a careful landing near the largest chunk of wreckage. The scanner confirmed breathable atmosphere but warned of extreme cold. He donned his exosuit, checked his oxygen levels, and grabbed his standard equipment belt with its translator, medical scanner, and defensive weapon. The airlock hissed as he stepped onto the moon's surface. Low gravity made his movements buoyant as he approached the crash site. The wreckage wasn't like anything humans had built. The metal seemed almost alive, pulsing faintly with dim blue light despite the apparent damage. "Computer, record everything and analyze material composition," Tae-won said into his communicator. He moved cautiously through the debris field, noting the elegant, flowing design of what must have been a spacecraft. No sharp edges or visible bolts, the ship seemed grown rather than built. His scanner detected no life signs initially, but as he rounded a large section of hull, the device suddenly beeped urgently. "Life form detected. Unknown species. Critical condition," the scanner reported. Tae-won hurried forward, climbing over twisted metal until he found the source of the reading. Behind a fractured hull section lay a humanoid figure, trapped beneath a fallen beam. Even in the dim light, he could see this was no human. The being appeared female, with slender limbs and delicate features. Her skin seemed to shift colors subtly, from pale blue to lavender and back again. Instead of hair, fine tendrils that resembled silk flowed from her head, changing color with her skin. Her eyes were closed, her chest barely moving. Protocol dictated non-interference with unknown species until proper assessment could be made. First contact procedures required quarantine, careful documentation, and immediate notification of Federation authorities. But she was dying. Tae-won knelt beside her and activated his scanner again. The device struggled to interpret her biology but confirmed severe injuries and dropping life signs. "I'm going to help you," he said, knowing she couldn't understand him. He assessed the beam pinning her lower body. It was heavy, but the moon's low gravity would help. Planting his feet firmly, Tae-won gripped the beam and lifted. His exosuit enhanced his strength just enough to shift the weight. The alien's skin flashed a bright purple as the pressure released, suggesting pain. With the beam moved, Tae-won could see the full extent of her injuries. A deep gash ran along her side, leaking iridescent fluid that must have been her blood. Working quickly, he applied emergency sealant from his med kit, hoping it wouldn't harm her further. The alien's eyes suddenly opened. They were large and iridescent, with no visible pupils, just swirling pools of violet and silver. She spoke, her voice musical but weak, in a language his translator couldn't begin to process. "I don't understand," Tae-won said gently, "but I'm trying to help you." She reached up with a six-fingered hand and touched his faceplate. Her skin changed to a soft golden hue, and somehow, Tae-won felt she understood his intentions. The scanner beeped again. Subject condition deteriorating. Immediate medical attention required. Taewon made his decision. I'm taking you to my ship. He carefully lifted her. She was lighter than expected, even accounting for the low gravity. Her body felt cool against his suit, and her skin continued to shift colors, now a pale, worried white. The trek back to his ship seemed endless as he struggled to move carefully with his fragile burden. By the time he reached the airlock, the alien had lost consciousness again, her breathing shallow. Once inside, Taewon placed her on the medical bay's examination table. The ship's more advanced systems immediately began scanning her, attempting to analyze her alien physiology. Unknown species, the computer reported. Humanoid. Biological structure contains elements not in database. Life signs critical but stabilizing. The medical system couldn't provide specific treatment without understanding her biology, but it could support her vital functions. Taewon watched as the AudioBook cleaned her wounds and applied a universal cellular regeneration field. Computer, begin recording first contact log, he said, removing his helmet. Commander Taewon Kim, Earth Federation Scout Ship Horizon. I have encountered and rescued a survivor from an unknown spacecraft. The survivor appears to be female, approximately humanoid, with unusual physiological characteristics including color-changing skin. He looked down at his unexpected guest. Federation protocols were clear: he should set course for the nearest outpost immediately. The alien would be quarantined, studied, and eventually, diplomatic channels would be established with her species if they could be found. But something about her seemed so vulnerable. What if Federation scientists treated her like a specimen rather than a person? What if her people were enemies of humanity? What if they were refugees, like her damaged ship suggested? The alien's eyes opened again. This time, they focused directly on Taewon's face. Without his helmet between them, their gazes met properly for the first time. Her eyes widened slightly, and her skin shifted to a deep blue with spots of gold. She spoke again, those musical tones filling the small medical bay. Taewon smiled, hoping to appear friendly. Hello. I'm Taewon, he said, pointing to himself. She watched him for a long moment, then lifted her hand to point at herself. She made a sound like wind through crystal chimes, Nara. Nara, Taewon repeated. You're safe now. He wasn't sure if she understood his words, but his tone seemed to comfort her. Her skin shifted to a calmer shade of blue. The computer interrupted the moment. Incoming transmission from Earth Federation Command. Taewon hesitated. Once he reported finding Nara, everything would change. But before he could decide, a warning alarm blared through the ship. Unidentified vessel approaching. Attack trajectory detected. Through the viewport, Taewon saw a massive ship with sharp, predatory lines closing in fast. Nara saw it too. Her skin turned ashen gray, and she made a sound that needed no translation, pure fear. Whatever was coming, Taewon knew one thing for certain: his simple mapping mission had just become something much more complicated. And the frightened alien woman looking to him for protection was now his responsibility. The alarm continued to blare as Taewon rushed to the control panel. The approaching ship was 3 times the size of his small scout vessel, its sharp angles and weapon ports leaving no doubt about its intentions. Evasive maneuvers, Taewon commanded, strapping himself into the pilot's seat. Behind him, Nara struggled to sit up on the medical table. Her skin flashed rapidly between colors, gray, red, and deep purple. She spoke urgently in her musical language, pointing at the viewscreen. Taewon didn't need a translator to understand her fear. Computer, maximum thrust. Plot escape trajectory. The engines roared as his ship accelerated away from the moon. The larger vessel adjusted course, pursuing them with surprising speed. Incoming transmission, the computer announced. A harsh voice filled the cabin, speaking in a guttural language full of clicks and growls. Nara's skin turned almost white with fear. Computer, can you translate? Taewon asked. Working. Language patterns partially match known aggressive species designated Mach in Outer Rim reports. Nara spoke again, this time slower, as if trying to make herself understood. She touched her chest and said her name, then gestured to the view screen and made a slashing motion across her throat. They want to kill you, Taewon said, understanding her gesture. But why? A blast from the pursuing ship rocked them violently. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Shield damage at 30%, the computer reported. Unable to withstand direct hit from main weapons. Taewon's mind raced. His scout ship wasn't built for combat. Their only chance was to reach the asteroid field and hide until the mock ship gave up the search. Hold on, he told Nara, pushing the engines beyond safety limits. The ship shuddered as they dove into the dense asteroid field. Taewon's hands flew across the controls, guiding them through narrow gaps between massive space rocks. The mock ship followed but moved more cautiously due to its size. Another blast caught them, sending Nara tumbling to the floor. Taewon couldn't help her while piloting, but he saw her crawl toward the co-pilot's seat and pull herself up. Shields at 15%, the computer warned. Nara watched Taewon pilot for a moment, then pointed to a large asteroid ahead. She made a circling motion with her hand, then pointed behind them. You want me to go around and double back? Taewon asked. She nodded, her skin now a focused blue. Taewon followed her suggestion, swinging the ship around the massive asteroid and cutting power briefly. The mock ship passed their position, continuing on the expected path. Good thinking, Taewon said with a smile. Nara's skin rippled with gold flecks, perhaps her way of showing satisfaction. Once they were sure they had lost their pursuers, Taewon set a course away from the asteroid field. They needed somewhere safe to make repairs and figure out their next move. Computer, find nearest uninhabited planet with breathable atmosphere, he ordered. Planet suitable for temporary landing located in nearby system. Estimated arrival, 6 hours. Taewon turned to Nara, who was examining the ship's navigation display with obvious interest. Despite her injuries, her eyes were alert and intelligent. We need to talk, he said. Computer, prioritize language analysis from subject's speech patterns. Begin basic translation protocol. Over the next several hours, the computer worked to build a simple translation program. Nara seemed to understand what Taewon was trying to do and spoke clearly, repeating words and pointing to objects. By the time they reached the uninhabited planet, a small, forest-covered world, the translator could handle basic communication. As Taewon landed the ship in a clearing, Nara looked out at the dense trees with obvious relief. Her skin turned a peaceful shade of green. Safe here, the translator interpreted her musical speech. For short time. Taewon nodded. We need repairs. Then we can figure out what to do next. While working on the damaged shield generators outside the ship, Taewon asked the questions that had been bothering him since their escape. Who are you? Why were those mock attacking you? Nara's translated response came slowly, with many words the computer couldn't process. I am, scientist. My people are Un. We study, life energy. Healing. The mock want our knowledge. To make weapons. To conquer. Your ship was attacked? Yes. Research vessel. All others, gone. Her skin darkened with grief. I carry important data. Must reach Un sanctuary. As days passed on the forest planet, their ability to communicate improved rapidly. Nara seemed to have a gift for languages, and the translation program became more sophisticated. Taewon learned that the Un were a peaceful species with remarkable biological abilities, including their color-changing skin that reflected their emotions. Our greatest gift is healing, Nara explained one evening as they sat by a small fire outside the ship. Un bodies repair damage quickly. Our scientists found ways to share this with other species. That's why the mock want your research, Taewon said. Soldiers who could heal from any wound would be unstoppable. Nara nodded, her skin shifting to a worried blue. Mock would use gift of life to bring death. Cannot allow. Taewon thought about his orders. He was supposed to map this sector and return to Earth Federation space within 3 months. Helping Nara would mean disobeying those orders and potentially facing court-martial. My people will want to know about the UN, he said carefully. Where I come from, we have rules about contacting new species. Rules good, Nara said. But sometimes heart better than rules. She placed her six-fingered hand over her chest, then reached out to touch Taewon's chest lightly. The simple gesture carried unexpected weight. You saved me when rules said no, she added. Heart chose. The ship's communication system beeped with an incoming message. Taewon went inside to answer it, Nara following close behind. Scout Ship Horizon, this is Earth Federation Command. Your scheduled report is overdue. Respond immediately. Taewon hesitated before answering. This is Commander Kim. Encountered navigation issues and stopped for repairs. Will resume mission shortly. Negative, Commander. New orders. Return to Federation space immediately. Repeat, return immediately. May I ask why? Taewon questioned. There was a pause before the reply came. Intelligence reports indicate hostile activity in your sector. The situation is classified. Acknowledge orders and confirm return course. Taewon looked at Nara, whose skin had paled with concern. She understood enough to know what the message meant. Federation Command, I acknowledge receipt of orders. Will update with departure time after completing essential repairs. Horizon out. He shut off the communication system before they could respond. They want you to leave me, Nara said simply. They don't know about you, Taewon replied. If they did, they would take me. Study me. Take research. Her skin turned a resolute orange. Cannot let any military have this knowledge. Not Mach. Not Earth. Taewon nodded slowly. I understand. But we need a plan. That night, as Nara slept in the ship's small guest quarters, Taewon made his decision. His career with the Earth Federation would likely end, but some things were more important than following orders. In the morning, he found Nara outside the ship, her hands pressed against a dying tree. To his amazement, her skin glowed with intense blue light that seemed to flow into the plant. Before his eyes, the tree's wilted leaves became green and healthy again. Life energy, she explained when she noticed him watching. Small demonstration of what Un can do. That's remarkable, Taewon said. No wonder the Mach want your research. And your people would not, she asked, her large eyes studying his face. Taewon couldn't lie. They would. Any military would want that power. Nara nodded. Then we must reach Un's sanctuary. My people will decide if humans can be trusted with knowledge. I'll take you there, Taewon promised. But we'll need to avoid both the Mach and my own people. For the first time since he found her, Nara's skin glowed with a warm, golden light that seemed to radiate hope. She stepped forward and took his hand in hers. Thank you, she said, the translator unable to capture the emotion in her musical voice. Together, we find way. The stars blurred outside the viewports as Taewon pushed his scout ship to its limit. For 6 days, they had been jumping through lesser-known hyperspace routes, avoiding both Earth Federation patrols and Mach warships. Nara sat in the co-pilot seat, her fingers dancing across the navigation panel with growing confidence. Next jump ready, she said, her command of basic human language improving daily. Small path between stars. Mach ships too big to follow. Taewon nodded, admiring her quick learning. Good thinking. How long until we reach Un space? Nara's skin shifted to a thoughtful blue. 3 more jumps. Then dangerous belt where many ships disappear. The void sector? Federation charts mark it as impassable. Yes. But Un knows secret paths. I guide you. Their plan was risky. By now, Taewon was certainly classified as AWOL by the Earth Federation. His ship's identification would trigger alerts at any checkpoint. Meanwhile, Mach scout vessels seemed to be searching every sector they passed through. The ship's computer chimed. Hyperspace exit in 30 seconds. Taewon gripped the controls. Ready shields. We'll scan quickly and jump again. The stars reappeared as they dropped out of hyperspace near a small red dwarf system. Tae-won immediately activated the sensor sweep, looking for any signs of other vessels. All clear, he began, but the alarm suddenly blared. Multiple ships detected, the computer announced. Mach energy signatures. Approach vector calculated. Nara's skin paled to ash gray. They found us. 3 Mach warships appeared on the display, moving to surround them. Their sleek, predatory shapes reminded Tae-won of Earth sharks, hunters evolved for one purpose. How did they know we'd exit here? Tae-won muttered, already plotting an escape route. Tracker, Nara said suddenly. Her 6 fingers flew across the ship's diagnostic panel. Must have put on ship when we fought first time. Before Tae-won could respond, a blast from the nearest Mach ship struck them. The ship shuddered violently. Shields at 60%, the computer reported calmly. No time for new jump calculations, Tae-won said. We'll have to outrun them to the asteroid field there. He pushed the engines beyond safety limits, heading for a dense cluster of asteroids orbiting the red dwarf. Another blast caught them, sending warning lights flashing across the control panel. Shields failing, the computer reported. Can you fight? Nara asked, her voice tight with tension. Tae-won shook his head. Scout ships don't have weapons. We're built for speed, not combat. They reached the asteroid field moments before the Mach ships could fire again. Tae-won's hands flew across the controls, guiding them through narrow gaps between massive space rocks. His ship was small and agile, their only advantage against the larger Mach vessels. Their ship's too big for small paths, Nara observed, watching the tactical display as the Mach ships slowed at the edge of the field. They won't give up, Tae-won replied grimly. They'll surround the field and wait. As if confirming his words, the display showed the 3 Mach vessels taking positions around the asteroid field, cutting off all escape routes. We need to find that tracker and destroy it, Tae-won said. Otherwise, they'll follow us forever. Nara nodded. I go outside. Look for tracker. Too dangerous. They might spot you. Must try. Her skin rippled with determination, turning a deep, resolute orange. Hide ship behind large rock. I go quick. Tae-won reluctantly agreed. He maneuvered behind a massive asteroid that would shield them from the Mach ship's sensors, then helped Nara prepare for the spacewalk. Her own physiology could handle brief exposure to space, but she still needed a basic suit for protection. Be careful, he said as she prepared to exit through the airlock. If anything goes wrong, get back immediately. Nara's skin flashed briefly with gold specks, her way of showing appreciation. Then she was gone, moving gracefully in the low gravity around the ship's hull. Tae-won watched anxiously on the external cameras. Nara moved methodically, checking every surface of the ship. After 10 tense minutes, she found something near the rear thrusters, a small, dark device attached to the hull. She pointed to it, then made a questioning gesture toward the camera. Tae-won gave her the go-ahead to remove it. Nara carefully detached the device, then pushed away from the ship, throwing the tracker far into the asteroid field. Relief flooded through Tae-won as she returned to the airlock. But before she could reach it, the ship's proximity alarm blared. A small Mach shuttle had entered the asteroid field and was heading directly toward them. Nara! Hurry! Tae-won shouted over the calm, knowing she couldn't hear him. He watched in horror as the Mach shuttle opened fire. Nara dodged the first blast, but the second caught her suit, sending her tumbling away from the ship. Without thinking, Tae-won sealed the cockpit, depressurized the main cabin, and opened the outer bay door. Then he pushed the ship forward, maneuvering toward Nara's drifting form. Another blast from the Mach shuttle struck his ship, damaging one of the thrusters. Come on, he muttered, edging closer to Nara. Just a little more. With a final burst from the remaining thrusters, he positioned the open bay directly in Nara's path. Her body floated inside, and Tae-won immediately closed the bay door and repressurized the cabin. The Mach shuttle was closing fast. Tae-won had no time to check on Nara. He had to get them out of firing range. He pushed the damaged ship deeper into the asteroid field, using the largest rocks as shields. Engine damage critical, the computer reported. Thruster 3 non-functional. The mock shuttle continued to pursue, but its larger size made navigating the tightly packed asteroids difficult. Taewon used this advantage, leading the shuttle into increasingly narrow passages until finally, a miscalculation sent the mock vessel crashing into a spinning asteroid. The explosion lit up the darkness of space. Taewon allowed himself a moment of satisfaction before rushing to the cabin where Nara lay motionless on the floor. Her suit was badly damaged, and a dark fluid leaked from a wound in her side. Her skin had turned a pale, sickly blue. "Nara," he called, kneeling beside her. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open, their usual bright violet now dim. "Taewon," she whispered. "Mock gone? One shuttle destroyed. But there are still 3 ships waiting for us." He carried her to the medical bay and began treating her wound as best he could. The medical scanner struggled to analyze her alien physiology, but it confirmed what he feared: her injury was severe. "I don't know how to help you," Taewon admitted, frustration and fear making his voice shake. Nara's hand weakly reached for his. "I teach you. Wound healing." Over the next hour, as they hid in the asteroid field, Nara guided Taewon through the basics of wound medicine. Her people's healing abilities were remarkable, but they required energy she was quickly losing. "Need life force," she explained weakly. "Wounds share with each other when hurt." "Tell me what to do," Taewon said without hesitation. Nara guided his hands to place one on her wound and the other on her forehead. "Think of energy flowing from you to me," she instructed. "Like water from high place to low place." Taewon closed his eyes and concentrated. At first, he felt nothing. Then, gradually, a strange tingling sensation began in his chest, spreading down his arms to his hands. Where he touched Nara, the feeling intensified. He opened his eyes to see his hands glowing with a soft blue light, the same light he had seen when Nara healed the dying tree. The light seemed to flow from him into her body. Her skin, previously pale and dull, began to regain its luminescence. The process drained him rapidly. After only a few minutes, Taewon felt lightheaded and had to stop. But when he checked Nara's wound, he saw it had partially closed. "It worked," he said in amazement. Nara's skin shifted to a warm golden hue. "Never before human do this." Her voice was stronger now. "Special connection." Before Taewon could ask what she meant, the ship's computer interrupted. "Warning. Mock vessels changing position. Scan patterns suggest they are preparing to enter asteroid field." Their brief moment of connection broken, Taewon returned to the pilot's seat. His mind raced, searching for a way out. Their ship was damaged, Nara was injured, and they were surrounded by enemies willing to destroy them for the knowledge she carried. "Need to reach next system," Nara said, joining him despite her injury. "Can you fly with damaged thruster?" Taewon nodded grimly. "It won't be pretty, but we can manage one more jump." "The question is where?" "They'll be waiting at every logical exit point." Nara's eyes gleamed with sudden inspiration. "Not logical exit. Dangerous path through Red Star Corona. Mock thinks suicide move. Through a star's corona? That is suicide." "No. Wound ships do sometimes. With right shield modulation." Taewon looked at her, then at the approaching mock ships on the display. They had no better options. "Tell me exactly what to do," he said. As the mock vessels entered the asteroid field, hunting for them, Taewon and Nara worked together to modify the shields. When everything was ready, they emerged from hiding and accelerated toward the red dwarf star at the center of the system. The mock ships immediately gave chase, but hesitated as they realized the small ship's apparent suicide course. "Shield modifications complete," Taewon announced. "Hyperspace calculations set." "Ready," Nara replied, her hand finding his for a brief moment. Together, they guided the damaged ship into the star's fiery corona. The cabin temperature rose rapidly as the shield strained against the incredible heat. Just when it seemed they wouldn't survive, Taewon activated the jump drive. The ship shuddered violently, then lurched into hyperspace, leaving the mock vessels and the star far behind. The hyperspace journey lasted longer than usual. Their damaged ship limped through the swirling blue tunnel of compressed spacetime, systems flickering as power reserves dwindled. Taewon worked tirelessly in the engine room, bypassing damaged circuits and rerouting power to keep them moving. Nara had recovered enough to help, her knowledge of energy systems proving invaluable. Her slender six-fingered hands moved with surprising skill among the human technology. "Connection there," she said, pointing to a junction box. "Reroute power from life support. Need only minimum to survive." Taewon followed her instructions, though the idea made him nervous. "If this fails, we'll have about 6 hours of air left." "Not fail," Nara assured him, her skin glowing with confident amber tones. "Oon good with energy flow." The patch worked, stabilizing their course. When they finally emerged from hyperspace, a beautiful blue-green gas giant hung before them, surrounded by dozens of moons. "Mekara system," Nara said, her voice filled with relief. "Oon sanctuary close." Third moon. Taewon checked their sensors. No signs of mock ships. "But our engines are failing. We might not make it to the moon." "We'll make it," Nara insisted. "Must." She placed her hands on the control panel. To Taewon's amazement, her skin began to glow with intense blue light that seemed to flow into the ship's systems. The power levels rose slightly. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Giving life energy to ship," she explained, her voice strained. "Temporary. Get us to moon." The small boost of energy was enough. Taewon guided their damaged vessel toward the third moon, a beautiful world with swirling blue-green clouds and vast oceans visible even from space. As they entered the atmosphere, the ship shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across the console. "Hull integrity compromised," the computer announced. "Landing systems offline." "We're going to crash," Taewon said grimly, fighting the controls. "Brace yourself." The ship plunged through thick clouds, spinning wildly. Taewon managed to level their descent slightly, aiming for what looked like an ocean rather than land. They hit the water hard, skipping like a stone before coming to rest half submerged in shallow waters near a shoreline. When Taewon regained consciousness, water was seeping into the cabin. Nara was already moving, pulling him from his seat. "Must leave ship," she urged. "Sinking." They gathered what supplies they could and escaped through the emergency hatch. The air outside was surprisingly warm and sweet-smelling, with slightly higher oxygen levels than Earth standard. They waded through chest-deep water to reach a beach with pink-tinged sand. Once on shore, Taewon looked back at his sinking ship with a pang of loss. That vessel had been his home for 3 years. "I'm sorry about your ship," Nara said, sensing his feelings. Her skin had shifted to a sympathetic blue. "It got us here," Taewon replied, turning to survey their surroundings. "Is this really the Oon Sanctuary?" The landscape was unlike anything he had seen before. The beach curved around a bay of crystal-clear water. Inland, strange trees with spiral trunks grew in clusters, their leaves changing colors as they watched. In the distance, structures that seemed to be grown rather than built rose from the landscape, their surfaces glowing with soft bioluminescence. "Yes," Nara confirmed. "Oon hidden world. Few outsiders ever see." "It's beautiful," Taewon said honestly. "Come. Must find others." Nara led the way along the beach, moving with new energy now that she was on familiar ground. They had walked for less than an hour when Taewon noticed movement ahead. 3 figures emerged from the tree line, each with the same general appearance as Nara: slender bodies, color-changing skin, and flowing tendrils instead of hair. They carried no visible weapons but moved with cautious purpose. Nara called out in her musical language. The approaching Oon stopped suddenly, their skin flashing with surprise. Then all 3 rushed forward, surrounding Nara in what appeared to be a joyful greeting. Their skins rippled with matching patterns of gold and green. Taewon hung back, suddenly very aware of being the only human on an alien world. One of the Oon noticed him and stepped away from the group, skin shifting to wary purple. The alien spoke rapidly to Nara, gesturing toward Tae-won. Nara's response was firm, her hand reaching back to beckon Tae-won forward. "Is safe," she told him. "These are scouts." They thought all on research ship dead. Tae-won approached cautiously. The three studied him with large, iridescent eyes, their skin displaying patterns he couldn't interpret. "This is Tae-won," Nara explained to them in their language, which the translator rendered into basic English for him. "He saved me when our ship destroyed. Fought Mach to bring me home." The Yun conferred briefly, then one stepped forward and placed a six-fingered hand over its chest in what seemed like a formal greeting. Tae-won mimicked the gesture. "They will take us to city," Nara told him. "Council must hear what happened." The scouts led them inland, following paths invisible to Tae-won's eyes. As they traveled, more details of this amazing world became clear. Small flying creatures with transparent wings drifted through the air. Plants responded to their passing, turning to follow their movement. Everything seemed interconnected in ways Tae-won couldn't fully comprehend. After several hours of walking, they crested a hill, and Tae-won gasped at what lay before them. The Yun city wasn't built on the landscape, it was part of it. Massive structures that resembled coral formations rose from the ground, their surfaces alive with light and color. Bridges of what appeared to be living material connected different levels. Un moved throughout the city, their skin colors creating a beautiful, ever-changing display. "Home," Nara said simply, her skin glowing with happiness. As they entered the city, Un stopped to stare at Tae-won. Some displayed colors of fear or suspicion, others curiosity. Children, smaller versions of the adults with more vibrant skin patterns, peeked from behind their parents. "No human ever walked in Seattle City before," Nara explained. "You first." They were taken to a central structure that rose higher than the others. Inside, the walls themselves seemed alive, pulsing with gentle light. Un officials met them, their skin displaying formal patterns of blues and purples. Nara was immediately surrounded, many hands touching her as if confirming she was real. An older Un with pale skin approached Tae-won. Unlike the others, this one wore a simple garment draped across its slender body. "I am Elder Sora," the Un said in halting English. "You bring our lost one home." "Why?" The directness of the question caught Tae-won off guard. "She needed help," he answered simply. It was the right thing to do. Elder Sora's skin shifted through several colors before settling on a thoughtful blue. "Human concepts, interesting. Come. Council awaits." They were led into a circular chamber where 7 Un sat in a semicircle. Their skin displayed matching patterns that seemed to indicate their official status. Nara stood before them, explaining what had happened in their musical language. When she mentioned the mock attacks, the council members' skin darkened with concern. Finally, Nara gestured for Tae-won to join her. As he stepped forward, the council members studied him intently. "Show them," Nara said quietly. "Show them what?" "Healing bond. What you did to save me." Tae-won hesitated. "I'm not sure I can do it again." "Try," Nara encouraged. She took his hand and placed it on her arm, where a faint scar remained from her injury. Feeling somewhat foolish under the council's watchful eyes, Tae-won closed his eyes and concentrated. He remembered the feeling of energy flowing from his body into hers. At first, nothing happened. Then, gradually, he felt the same tingling sensation begin in his chest. When he opened his eyes, his hand was glowing with blue light where it touched Nara's skin. The council members' reaction was immediate, their skin flashed with patterns of alarm and wonder. "Impossible," Elder Sora whispered. "Human cannot channel life energy." Nara spoke rapidly to the council. The translator caught only fragments, special connection, and meant to find each other. The council conferred among themselves, their skin shifting through complex patterns as they communicated both verbally and visually. Finally, the central elder addressed Tae-won directly. "You have done what no human should be able to do," the elder said through the translator. "This changes many things." "Is that good or bad?" Tae-won asked cautiously. "Unknown," the elder replied. You will stay as our guest while Council discusses implications. Nara will guide you. As they left the Council chamber, Taewon felt uneasy. They don't seem happy about our connection. Nara's skin shifted to a reassuring gold. Not unhappy. Surprised. Believe in patterns of life. You and I formed new pattern not seen before. She guided him toward a smaller structure near the central building. Rest now. Tomorrow show you Seattle. That night, in a room with walls that glowed soft blue, Taewon stood at a window overlooking the beautiful alien city. He had come farther than any human explorer before him. He had defied his own people, fought an enemy he barely understood, and formed a connection with Nara that even her people found remarkable. Whatever happened next, he knew his life would never be the same. Outside, 3 moons rose over the horizon, bathing the living city in silver light. In the distance, Taewon could see them gathering in open spaces, their skin glowing as they performed what appeared to be evening rituals. Despite being the only human on this world, he felt a strange sense of belonging. Nara had called it a special connection. The council had seemed unsettled by it. Taewon didn't understand it fully, but as he watched the alien moons rise over the sanctuary world, he knew one thing with certainty: he would protect Nara and her people, whatever the cost. Morning on Seattle brought new wonders. Taewon woke to find the walls of his room had changed color overnight, now glowing with warm amber light that matched the rising sun. A gentle chiming sound came from something like a door, a living membrane that rippled when touched. Enter, he called. Nara stepped through, her skin shimmering with bright golden patterns he hadn't seen before. She wore a simple garment that flowed around her slender form like liquid silver. Good morning, she said in English. Council ready to see us. Taewon dressed quickly in the clean clothes the Yoon had provided, a loose-fitting tunic and pants made from a fabric that felt like silk but adjusted to his body temperature. What will they decide? He asked as they walked through the living city. Many things to consider, Nara replied. Your healing bond with me. Mock threat. Earth Federation involvement. Her skin darkened slightly. Some elders fear bringing humans to our world brings danger. Taewon couldn't argue with that logic. His own people would see the Yoon as a scientific goldmine, or worse, a military asset. The council chamber looked different in daylight. The walls pulsed with brighter colors, and the 7 elders' skin displayed more vivid patterns. Elder Sora greeted them first. We have decided, the elder said without preamble. Human Taewon saved one of our own at great personal risk. He has shown ability to channel life energy, something thought impossible for Nanun. These things suggest important connection. The central elder spoke next. Nara has shared her research data. Combined with information about human-Yoon healing bond, we believe new path is possible. Taewon listened carefully as they explained their decision. The council proposed a bold plan: Nara would return with Taewon to human space as an official Yoon ambassador. Together, they would establish first formal contact between their species, but only with specific human scientists the Yoon deemed trustworthy. This is unprecedented, Elder Sora explained. Yoon have hidden from other species for generations. But Mach grow more aggressive. We cannot face them alone. Your Earth Federation has technology we lack, another elder added. We have biological knowledge you need. Together, perhaps we create balance against Mach threat. The plan seemed logical, but Taewon saw one major problem. I'm considered a deserter now. If I return to Earth space, I'll be arrested immediately. The elder's skin rippled with what might have been amusement. We have solution for this, Elder Sora said. But first, ceremony required. That afternoon, Taewon found himself standing beside Nara at the edge of a large pool at the city's center. Hundreds of Yoon had gathered, their skin displaying matching patterns of blue and gold that created a stunning visual display. What kind of ceremony is this? Taewon whispered. Soul binding, Nara explained. Her skin flushed with the now familiar pink he had come to recognize as her display of deep emotion. Among my people, when 2 beings share life energy as we did, formal bond is created. Like marriage? Taewon asked, suddenly nervous. Similar, but deeper. Allows permanent healing connection. Will help convince your people of peaceful intentions. She touched his hand gently. Also strengthens what already exists between us. Before Taewon could respond, Elder Sora approached, carrying a small crystal vessel filled with luminescent liquid. The elders spoke in the musical Un language, then motioned for them to step into the pool. The water felt warm and slightly thick, almost like oil but without the greasy feeling. It glowed where their bodies disturbed its surface. Elder Sora poured the luminescent liquid over their joined hands while chanting softly. Taewon felt the now familiar tingling sensation start in his chest, but stronger than before. It spread through his entire body, connecting with something in the water around them. Looking down, he saw energy patterns flowing between his body and Nara's, creating beautiful, complex designs in the water. Nara's skin glowed with intense patterns, brighter than he had ever seen. Through their strengthening bond, he could feel her emotions, joy, hope, and something deeper he couldn't quite name. When the ceremony ended, Taewon felt different. More aware of Nara's presence even when not looking at her. A warm connection hummed between them, subtle but undeniable. The bond is complete, Elder Sora announced. First human-Un soul binding in history. The gathered Un skin flashed in synchronized patterns, their version of applause, Taewon realized. That evening, during the celebration feast, Nara explained the council's plan in greater detail. The Un had salvaged a small ship capable of reaching Earth space. They would carry special credentials that should prevent Taewon's arrest. Proof of first contact with a peaceful advanced species would outweigh charges of desertion. My people have watched humans for many years, Nara explained. We know your political structures. Earth Federation will not punish person who brings valuable alliance. Taewon wasn't so sure, but he trusted Nara's confidence. 3 days later, they prepared to depart. The Un had loaded the small ship with samples of their technology and detailed records of Nara's research, enough to prove the value of cooperation without revealing too many secrets. As they made final preparations, Elder Sora approached Taewon privately. Soul binding is sacred among Un, the elder said. Not done lightly. I understand, Taewon replied, though he wasn't entirely sure he did. No, you do not yet. The elder's skin shifted to a color Taewon hadn't seen before, a deep, midnight blue with sparks of white light, like stars. Bond grows stronger with time. Will change both of you. Neither fully human nor fully Un. What does that mean? Taewon asked. You begin to sense her thoughts already, yes? Feel emotions not your own? Taewon nodded. Since the ceremony, he had occasionally caught glimpses of Nara's feelings, brief flashes of memory that weren't his. This is only beginning, Elder Sora continued. In time, you share more. Perhaps even share lifespan. The implication stunned Taewon. Un live much longer than humans, centuries rather than decades. Why tell me this now? To prepare you. Path ahead difficult. Some humans will fear what you become. Someone already fear what Nara sacrificed. The elder touched Taewon's forehead gently. But council believes your bond may save both our peoples. The journey back to human space would take 2 weeks in the small Un vessel. As they departed from Seattle, Taewon watched the beautiful living city fade from view. Beside him, Nara operated the ship's unusual controls, crystal interfaces that responded to touch and thought. Are you afraid? He asked her. Nara's skin shifted through several colors before settling on a determined orange. Yes. But also hopeful. Through their bond, Taewon felt her complex emotions, fear of rejection by humans, worry for her people's future, but overriding everything, a steady confidence in their connection. What exactly did that ceremony do to us? He asked. Nara turned to face him fully. Soul binding connects life energy. Ancient Un practice, but never done with human before. Creates permanent path between us. And what happens now? Her skin glowed with the special pink that he now recognized as being reserved only for him. We change together. Learn together. Find new way forward. As their ship accelerated into hyperspace, Taewon reflected on how much had changed in such a short time. He had left Earth as a simple scout, following orders and mapping stars. Now he returned as something unprecedented, a human bonded to an alien, carrying knowledge that could reshape relations between species. Whatever challenges awaited them in human space, they would face them together. Through their bond, he felt Nara's hand find his, her 6 fingers intertwining with his 5. No words were needed. On the navigation display, Earth's coordinates blinked steadily. Home, but a home that would never be the same again. Ahead lay diplomatic battles, scientific discoveries, and the looming threat of the Mach. Behind them lay Seattle, a sanctuary they could return to if all else failed. Between them flowed something new in the universe, a connection that transcended species, a bond neither had expected but both now cherished. As the ship hurled through hyperspace, Taewon felt no regret for the choice he had made that day when he found a dying alien girl among the wreckage of her ship. Some decisions reshaped destinies. Some connections were worth any risk. Through their bond, he sensed Nara's agreement with his unspoken thoughts. Her skin glowed with warm golden light as she smiled at him, her large eyes reflecting the hyperspace patterns that carried them toward an uncertain but shared future. The end.